Hey there. So, I had an interesting question that somebody asked me. Well, actually, it wasn't that interesting, but for whatever reason, at this particular time in my life, it's like, oh, wow, that's interesting. It was a simple question, and it was like, okay, so I had somebody new that I've been chatting with. He was like, like, what do you this is so funny because as a person that talks about relationship stuff all the time, this was so funny that this person asked me, what are you looking for? It seems like you're really happy. Okay, and so I guess I didn't realize the vibe that I've been throwing off or kicking off these days or whatever, like I just really haven't been paying attention. So that's why I found that so interesting. It's like, well, what do you want? And from a man's perspective, I understand when men are like, well, like, what do you need? Because men like to be needed. I get that. Like, I understand all that, right? And so to have that question posed to me, like, what are you looking for in a relationship? Or do you want a relationship? Like, what do you need? You seem really happy. And that's just so funny to me. The reason why that's funny to me is because, some people, some men, okay, they will find a needy woman or somebody needy in particular, so as in like a green flag. It's like, that's a green flag. This woman is needy. I could be Captain Sava, Snow. Okay. And or some men will see the same thing as like red flag. That's not what I'm doing now, or that's not what I want in relationships. Or I want it to be a mutual, a healthy, balanced person is going to want there to be a mutual needing or wanting whatnot, right? So they kind of are more or less looking for somebody who is kind of already happy, like could be in a relationship or could be without it, in or out, but like they have an internal happiness, right? Like when you are healed, or as you are healing, or as you're going through your journey and you start to learn really what are the red flags and what are toxic traits and things like that, you start to definitely stay away from, if you're a man, you're like, I'm no longer going to be Captain Sabo, okay? Anyway, so I guess apparently I'm kicking off a vibe that's kind of like, okay. And so actually, the truth of the matter is that I'm very happy. Yeah, I'm very happy. Because why? I am one of those people who tend to be very eternally happy. Like, for the most part, before I've gone through any kind of traumatic situations or trauma things or, hurtful things, I always was the kind of person that kind of woke up happy, like excited. I loved going to school. I woke myself up. My mom would tell you, I didn't need no alarm. I literally woke myself up to, go to school every day because I liked it, and I was happy in general. Like, generally speaking, I was happy. And, yeah, like, to answer his question, it's like, I was like, if I had to put into words, like, how I really feel at this time in my life, like, where I'm at this time in my life, like, right now, today, or if I had to put it in a way that's more of a visual, I would say, it feels to me, I feel like, or I envision somebody who has, like, broken free from, I don't want to say jail per se, but let's say, if you were, Rapunzel, let down your hair. If you were stuck up in some sort of, tower and you were locked, in there and for a couple years, and it was just like, it's like you just broke free and it's like that feeling of like, I'm out. It's that feeling of like, I'm out. It's a sense of freedom, right? But because I am a whole grown woman who's responsible, it's not like it's a freedom like when you're young, when you're like, oh, I'm free to go, like, do all the things that my mother and dad would let me do. So, like, even for me, when I was a teenager, or when I was young, or when I moved out the day I turned 18, when I moved out, like, I don't want to say worst thing, but like the most craziest thing, if you want to call it crazy, that I did, or rebellious thing, really and truly was, I went to go get my second ears pierced. when I moved out, I was like, yes, I get to go, because I wasn't allowed to have my secondary spears. Okay, so like that's the kind of girl, like even me at my, youngest, when I was, young adult and everything, I always worked 2 or 3 jobs, always. And I always, I worked real hard. I always loved my beauty sleep. I always took my vitamins. I was that type of person that just, what's fun for me was not really fun for other people. And so I'm saying that to say that, I actually don't require a lot of, rules and regulations, because I'm pretty self-regulated, right? And how do you know? Because I have no addictions. I have no addictions. I like to work, I self-sufficient kind of thing, like, not 100%, like everybody needs help, and especially as you're rebalancing your life coming off of a divorce and things like that. What I mean, though, in general, I don't need anyone to say, go to sleep right now, wake up right now, it's like some people who are, even as adults, they still need that supervision, if you want to say, or, they're always partying, drinking, smoking, getting high, whatever, and then they can't go to work the next day, stuff like that, like that's not me. That's never been me. It wasn't me when I was young. It's definitely not me now, right? But I guess the happiness that I'm emitting or kicking out is because I'm constantly thinking to myself, since I got divorced and since I got rid of the second, the narcissist, that one, I'm constantly thinking to myself, like the things that I do, like just the things that I do, whatever they are, okay? Like the other day, I stayed out late. I went to like 4 different Hobby Lobbies looking for something in particular that was on markdown. Okay? I like to, get my stuff on sale or clearance or whatever anyway, because I like to put in my gift sets and stuff. But like I was out late. I was out, like to me, I was out late. Like I think I was out till like 9. I was out, honestly, I was out till they closed. So they closed at like 8 o'clock. So that was one of the days where I actually did that for 2 days in a row. But the day that I stepped out of the Hobby Lobby, it was closed. I literally was there till the closing. I stepped out into the parking lot and there was a car meetup. And it was an impromptu meetup. It was just in the parking lot, and it was just like all these cars and everything. And it was kind of cool. And so I just walked around and was able to like look at all the cars and just kind of, I was just, hanging out or whatever for a minute by myself, because the thing is, I come from I don't want to say a car family, but my late husband was into cars. My boys are into cars. They both are into cars. Like their dad was into cars. Their uncle, cars, right? Cars. So I don't know. So it's, I find them fun to look at and stuff too. I've had to, because I've been drugged to so many car races and, car meetups and whatever, right? So anyway, it's kind of cool. I FaceTimed my son, my older son, and he was looking at all the cars and everything. He was like, Mom, what are you doing out this late? Who are you with? Are you with somebody? And I was like, no, I was at Hobby Lobby. I just came out of my car and I'm just showing you the car meetup. And he was like, I'm like, look. So I had to like turn the phone around, like, look, there's nobody here with me. This is my younger son, he's 23. But anyway, and he's like, oh, okay, I'm just making sure that you're not out, with some guy or something. I'm like, what? No, I'm shy. But every time, like, I do something like that, like, I'm like, oh, I'm out late, right? And I'm at Hobby Lobby, or whatever. And I'm doing something like that I know that, in the past, I would have probably gotten in trouble for being out late. But then on top of that, I turn on one of my little apps and I get to pick up a delivery or whatever. Because I'm a hustler. Like, I'm like, okay, I need to, pay, on the way coming home, I want to, like, make this trip count. So I'm going to turn on, I got 4 or 5 different apps that I'll run. I don't care, because that's just how I roll. Like, I don't know what it is. But to me, I don't know. I just like that. I like the ability of doing that. And if I give money out or give money away or whatever, I just know that, for me, it's about working. It's like, it allows me to be helpful and more helpful to other people and everything when I continue to, try to, do the best that I can. So anyway, I just know in the past, if I was married or still with somebody, whatever, it's not about being provided for and all that, because I understand being a wife and being a woman, most men want you in the house. Like, I get it. Like, they don't want you out running the streets. But sometimes it's kind of like, I guess because my late husband, when I was with him for 17 years, I would shop. I mean, I always shop sales and things like that, but I would be out or whatever. Sometimes he just came with me. But I guess the thing about it is that I didn't feel like or experience a dreadful feeling of dread of coming home, or like with my first husband, my late husband. I never felt that feeling of like, oh, he's going to think that I was secretly cheating on him or doing something with somebody, right? Because I never gave him any reason to feel that way. And he didn't have that insecurity with me, okay? So I never had any feeling like that, and I didn't have a dreadfulness, right? But sometimes, because, you know, now as I learn, you know, as I have gone through life and I identified projection, right? When people project their own fears onto you, right? They project, you know, their personal fears. Like I remember one person that I was in a relationship with, he said to me, he said his mother said, the one, you know, because he was a player so much that, you know, she told him, she said, okay, the one you fall in love with is gonna, you know, cheat on you, XYZ, do whatever, right? Because because of whatever he did in the past, that was gonna get back on him. And it was something that he always said, and so he was constantly, I felt like down my throat, like looking around the corner, and like, you know, well, I was on GPS, so it wasn't like he didn't know where I was, but I felt like I was in a way like in a prison in a way. It was like I had to constantly prove that I wasn't doing something, you know, when I never gave any reason for that in the first place, right? And so the reason why I feel like I'm giving off this vibe of happiness or like freedom, I have such a sense of freedom, is because I don't have to worry about any of that. Like, I'm like, that's the good thing about being, like, that's what I like about being single. I mean, there are definitely drawbacks. There's so many drawbacks because, you know, when you're used to being with somebody and certain things are just not my lane, okay? I don't like getting in that other lane. I don't like doing certain things that I feel are, I'm fine with saying it's a man's job, it's a female's job. I'm okay with that. Like, you know, I don't want to check my oil. I don't want to change my oil. You know, I don't want to do outside stuff. I don't want to pick up a hammer. I don't want to do a lot of things that have to do with like that, right? I don't want to kill bugs. I don't want to kill spiders. You know, I don't know. There's stuff like, but on the other hand, I don't like to be made to feel guilty or where you at, what you doing, you know, and that constant like feeling of dread. And it's like, all I'm doing is like, I'm looking for clearance items at Hobby Lobby. Okay, that's what I'm doing. That's all I'm doing, you know, and I don't know, like, I'm just a good girl. in general, I'm just a good girl. And it's like, because I did that 2 days in a row. I went to like all the Hobby Lobbies because I was looking for a particular blanket. This blanket was on clearance. It was on markdown. It's a nice blanket, but I only found 4 of them. But anyway, I went to all of the Hobby Lobbies, like all over the place. And then when I was coming home late. I think it was the second day. Like I was done with that or whatever. And then I turned on the app, and right now these apps are jumping because of it being holiday season. This is a good time to work apps and stuff because you can make a good, you know, extra money. Like today, you know, I think I made about $200 today, just, you know, turning on an app, you know, and I love that. Like, I think that's so cool. You know, I just think it's cool. If you have time to do it, if you can do it, right? But I also am very service oriented. I also love helping people, and I also like interacting with people, especially the elderly, especially those who need help, or, you know, I just do. This is something I would do for, people just in general who needed help anyway, right? So anyway, I just think it's really cool. But this is holiday season, so I turned it on, and so then I was out late doing Hobby Lobby, but then I actually like picked up like 3 orders, like 3 deliveries. It was so jumping, it was big. I was like, dang, wow, I should have like turned it on a while ago. But that was the other day. But anyway, and then I got home like super late. For me, you know, 11 o'clock is super late, right? But anyway, even if those days that I've actually stayed out, there were some days that I actually planned to, with couponing, that I actually planned to stay out. Like, I was actually out at like, even past that, because there were a couple days like, okay, so I gotta just explain this, because if you don't get it, if you never coupon, you won't even understand what I'm saying. You don't even get it, right? But I'm gonna explain this as slowly as I can. So I don't have any vices or anything, but I do get an adrenaline high when I can buy things either with couponing or sales or whatever, and it's like close to zero or almost nothing. Like, I love it. Like, it's so exciting to me. Ever since I learned how to coupon, that feeling has never gone away. Like, it never goes away for me to fill up my trunk or fill up my car or whatever with tons of stuff, and I've paid hardly nothing. Like, I love it. I absolutely love it, right? And when I first started couponing, this was before COVID, right? So this has been, because I've been couponing now for 8, 9, whatever years now. But before COVID, when paper coupons were plentiful, a lot of us couponers, so we know the date really for the year. There is literally a coupon schedule. So if you're not a couponer, you don't know this, but there is a coupon schedule for the year, right? So that you can see what coupons are planned to come out. Now, there's lots of coupons everywhere. You can get coupons from the store, you can get coupons from certain magazines, you can get coupons in the back of cereal boxes, stuff like that, on food or whatever. But the actual coupon inserts, they're actually scheduled. So back in the day, okay, we had four coupon inserts, right? With lots of coupons. And there was a schedule when the booklet was going to come out and what exactly was in the booklet. Okay, so much so that you can look back on YouTube and find videos of the OG couponers. Okay, they're on YouTube, where they would go over literally a whole video on what the new booklet that was coming out. Okay, that was planned, scheduled to come out. Let's say it was going to hit on Sunday. Was the new PNG, and so a lot of the couponers would go over what was in the new book. Okay, so this would all be prior to that actual day that the coupon comes out, right? Okay, so if you're a couponer, you know, okay, on Sunday there's going to be, I'm going to give you just a very generic example. There's going to be a $3 off coupon, okay, for Gain. So we're talking about before COVID, okay? So there's a $3 off coupon that you know is coming out on Sunday, but this week, so we're watching the videos, we all know, whatever, we see the schedule, we know what's happening, right? But before Sunday hits, like the current sale that ends, let's say it ends Sunday night, okay? There could be a sale at the store, let's say Kroger or whatever, that is putting Gain on sale for $3.99, right? And so you know that the coupon that's coming out literally on Sunday, that's scheduled for the date of Sunday, you have one day to use that coupon, that particular $3 off coupon on that Gain, to get your Gain for 99 cents, right? Now, truthfully, the hardcore couponers, like how I was, we got our coupons on Thursday before that Sunday. Okay, don't ask me how we did that, but anyway, we did, because we ordered them, we got them. You could get them early so that you can have them cut and ready to go. They didn't go live until Saturday night usually, or sometimes even Sunday. It just depends. So even if you did get early, a lot of times they didn't go live. Sometimes they did. Some certain coupons they did go live. We call them go live. So that means if you took them to the store and scanned them in the date, like it wouldn't even work until, let's say, that date. But it helps when you can get it early, because you can get them cut and ready. Because when I say coupons, I'm not talking about 10. Like, in your mind, you might be thinking, okay, she's a couponer, she probably had like 10. No. When you're hardcore couponer, we would get stacks of coupons, right? Booklets. I have pictures, okay? Because I'm not making this up. Like, stacks and stacks and stacks. Like, I made my kids help me cut, okay? When I would get the coupons, I made my kids help me cut them, okay? So, anyway, I'm telling you all that to say, if I knew, or let's say, for example, because back then, this was before COVID, right? So, I remember, like, Kroger, Walmart, certain stores, like, they would be open until, like, 3 a.m. or something like that. Like, they were open until, like, real late. And let's say, or another example is that particular coupon that's $3 off could be expiring on Sunday, but Sunday at let's say at, 12:01, the new sale would start at Kroger or someplace, CVS, whatever. The new sale would start, because CVS opens 24 hours, right? So back then, especially, all of them. And a new sale would start, right? But that coupon that would be expiring the next day would still work for like that one 24-hour period. Well, actually, there was like a 3-day grace period for most coupons. But anyway, you had that period that you could use that $3 off coupon. And if the sale for the gain was going on sale for $3.99, it's like we're going to get our gain for 99 cents, which is huge profit for us, right? And there's other ways to even get it down lower than that, but I'm not going to get into all that. The point is that this would happen at least once a month, where a particular hot coupon for a hot item, like gain or something like that, a coupon would be out and available, or would be coming out or going live. And it's like you have one day to use that coupon with a particular sale of a particular item to get it at the lowest price point for that whole month, right? This is not a big deal for most people. And this is not about being poor, okay? Because especially when I was doing this, we were nowhere near poor, okay? It's absolutely not about that. It is absolutely an adrenaline rush for most of us couponers. And if you're a couponer, you know what I'm talking about. You know, like, it's just an adrenaline rush, okay? And so it's very hard if you're not into that. It's kind of like, I would imagine for guys, it's kind of like watching your team that you know is already, better than this other team that they're going up against, and in your mind, it's kind of like, they're going to win, right? But you still sit down and watch the game. Why? Because it's the thrill of watching the game and just, watching to see what happens, right? Because you love the sport. You just like the sport. Even if you already know, like, yeah, I already know my team is going to win, or your team is not going to win, whatever, right? But the point is like, it's a thrill, or there's still something there and watching it, right? It's like, it doesn't matter how many times your team has won the Super Bowl or the playoffs or whatever, right? You want to watch, right? Okay, it's a thrill. It's like an adrenaline thrill, right? Okay, and so I feel that way towards like certain couponing. But I mean, a lot of couponing has changed since COVID. But anyway, the point is that there were many days like that. And it wasn't just me, believe me. There's people in your community who coupon on a regular. We all know each other. And I had one main friend. She was my my partner in crime. And so we would go out and stuff. But the thing is, I would not be the only one. And I remember, like, especially like at Kroger and stuff like that, when it would be open late, a lot of couponers would be in the store with, let's say, I'm just using Gain as an example, but usually it was something like All detergent or something like that. But we would be in the store an hour before the sale flips over, right? With a cart, with at least one cart or maybe two carts, depending on however many people you had with you in your posse, okay? Everybody had their own cart, and we would fill up our carts with nothing but that detergent. And it would be like teams. I mean, I wish I had video, because I know people think I'm crazy, but this is like absolutely a real thing. So, like, we all knew that come 11:01 or 12:01, the new sale is hitting. That price point is going to go down to whatever, $2.99. And don't let it go down to $2.99 and there was a $3 off coupon, because now, like at Kroger or whatever, now we were going to get a penny credit. We were actually going to get a credit of 1 penny. So basically, they were going to pay us a penny to take that out of the store because we had that coupon. Oh, that was like you couldn't tell me nothing. Like, when I say a high, I mean a high. Like, I don't think I could go to sleep until like maybe 6 o'clock the next morning. Like, that's how excited I would be to have a trunk full of free detergent. I don't care what brand it was, right? Because that happened a lot. But I would not be the only one there. You had to get there, because literally, if you waited until the next morning, let's say 8 o'clock or whatever, depending on what store and what they had in stock, most of the time, everything that was on the shelf was already gone. And it would be because a lot of us couponers came and filled our cart, right? Back then, it was like, okay, they always said they had limits, but everybody, we ran right past the limits. We just did it in separate transactions. It'd be like 8 per transaction, and we would just separate the transaction and just use our coupons. Boom, boom, boom. I got some videos, some stuff, but anyway, okay. I'm saying that to say, I'm bringing all that up. This is so crazy that I'm telling you this story. But anyway, during a lot of those times, right, I got in so much trouble. I would be in so much trouble coming home, because I would literally, I promise you, I would be sneaking in the house. Like, I would be tiptoeing in the house like I was a teenager trying not to wake my parents up, okay? And like going, like, oh, like I know I'm going to be in trouble because it'd be like 1 o'clock in the morning. Now, this didn't happen all the time, but it definitely happened, By this point in the relationship, when this was happening, there was already like an understanding of a certain feeling between us in the relationship, and there was already a huge separation, and I had already discussed and made a rule to be able to even stand or stay in this relationship. I needed to see that person for less than 3 hours a day. If I had to see this person more than 3 hours a day, I would not make it. I couldn't make it, So we were we were already at a threat level 10, right? But for me, couponing was keeping me not only like doing healthy things, like not doing anything bad or wrong, but it was keeping my mind busy, keeping me mentally busy and everything, and out of trouble. Like, okay, and that's just what I was doing. And I always had proof because I had tons of stuff with me or whatever. I had my partner in crime. I mean, and many times I had to, call her, put her on three-way and be like, was I with you tonight? Where was I at? Whatever. Like, and it was so much emotional stress. It was so stressful on me to have this sense of gloom. I felt like I was going to be in trouble when I was actually like doing something good. Like I was actually, I don't want to say beating the system, but yeah, okay, I was beating the system. Like I was being a couponer. Okay, but I wanted my detergents. I wanted my stuff, right? Anyway, the point is that feeling, that constant feeling of dread, or like I was doing something wrong, or or having to prove that I wasn't out sleeping around with somebody, or doing something illegal, whatever. It's just that constant feeling. I'm so happy to not have. I don't have to answer nobody. Like if I want to go to the store and be there at 1 o'clock in the morning or whatever, I can. Or if honestly, I like my sleep. Honestly, I like to be in bed. I do like to go to bed. But the fact of the matter is that I don't have that constant dread or feeling down my throat. Where you at? What you doing? Or why are you out? Whatever, or having to answer like that when I'm not doing anything wrong anyway, But that in itself, that feeling being gone and omitted from my life, like it's just gone, because why? I made the decision over 3 years ago to I made this decision a lot sooner, but anyway, to be done with that type of constant feeling, because of the constant stress that it was putting on me. I was feeling a lot of stress. So what I was talking about earlier in my earlier videos today, I was talking a lot about a piece of paper does not guarantee, having your piece of paper, having your license, or having a marriage license or a piece of paper that says I'm legally married to you, does not mean that I legally love you, or that I'm feeling, or that I'm feeling passion for you, or that I'm feeling excitement to see you, or that I want to see you more than 3 hours a day, or that I want to do that thing with you every night, right? This piece of paper does not guarantee or does not mean that there's a real genuine attraction and good feelings, right? Sometimes a piece of paper is a guarantee of hell, really. I mean, I'm just keeping it real. Sometimes this piece of paper is like, you got to answer to this person. You're going to have to tell them where you are, give them an account for your whereabouts. I mean, even though, there's GPS and everything, it's kind of like, I know I'm going to, like I said, if you just depending on how your marriage is and who you marry and all that kind of stuff, what their demands are. And even if they're not demanding it, sometimes they may not demand it, but they're going to huff and puff if you don't have their dinner ready, or their, olives are not touching the bread, and they're in between two pieces of meat, and that his lunch and stuff is not made correctly and all that kind of, like the micromanaging thing, right? I could not, I could not mentally withstand that, and have to be able to, and have to come up with bills. Like I have to still pay my portion of my bills or whatever, like that I paid. Like I have to still pay bills, but yet it was like I was really strongly encouraged, like with the chain, encouraged to stay home, and cook breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and do the house, and do all this other stuff that I was doing either for the family or whatever, all these moving parts to the family, stuff like that, but also still come up with my money for bills and also for whatever I needed to do, right? And that's a lot of stress on you to try to do everything, right? It's a lot. And then on top of that, prove that you're not cheating. Prove that you're not out doing something wrong. It can, for me personally, for this person, I have a limit to how much stress I can really handle, right? I know what I can handle, what I can't. And now my tolerance level has dropped. It's gotten less and less and less and less. I can't tolerate as much as what I used to back in the day. And now, like I said, it's like some men, I realize that they want to get you, I don't want to say trap you, but they think that getting married to you with a piece of paper, okay, is going to entrap you in some sort of way and make you feel guilty, right? If you don't change whatever it was about you that was okay when they were dating you. So for example, like I said, if I did baskets or I couponed or whatever, this is what I've been doing. You met me like that. You were dating me during all that. You knew I did all that. But then all of a sudden, as soon as this thing happens, it's like, oh, I don't want you to do that no more. But I do want you to pay your bills. I do want you to pay half your bills. Or I do want you. That's a lot of stress, right? I call that, like I said, that's what the bait and switch, or hook and bait, or whatever. Bait, hook, switch. Right? That's really what it is. It's like, let me bait this person by saying whatever, love bombing or whatever, lying or doing whatever, saying whatever they want to hear, making them feel like they're the best person in the world. But after I bait them in, okay, and I hook them with this piece of paper, I'm going to switch up, and instead of being a piece of paper, I'm going to be, a wet wipe. And I'm going to expect them to do X, Y, Z, and to quit doing this and quit doing that and be home at this time or whatever. That ain't gonna work for me. It never has worked for me. The only reason why, it's like, I was really fortunate the first time around. Really fortunate. Actually, people just say lucky. I was just lucky, basically, the first time around. Where I didn't experience that in my first marriage, and so I saw that with other women and friends and everything, but I didn't experience that. I wasn't dealing with it. And I got to do whatever I wanted. Now, it was like we just naturally picked up the slack for each other in the house. So like if I worked late, he did the dishes. He cooked. He was home with the kids. And if he worked late and it was his time to shine, it was a holiday week or whatever, and he knew he was going to be busy at the shop or whatever, then I picked up the slack that week. Like we just did that. Like there was no guilt being thrown or kicked out for, somebody hustling, working hard or whatever. Like there was none of that. Like if my first husband, if I started couponing the way that I coupon now, right, while married to my first husband, oh my God, he would have been ecstatic. Like he would have been ecstatic. Like he would have been like happy as could be, because he loved it. Like he loved that type of thing. Like he loved it. And so I don't know, like, and even, I don't know. So I guess my point in saying all that is to say, I guess I'm giving off this real happy vibe, and it's because I'm not feeling constrained. And that's really all there is to it. That's the experiences that I've had with several relationships since my husband has passed, is there has been some sort of bait and switch type of attitude or whatever. And because of that, I am in turn throwing out less love, or starting to run or pull away because I can't handle the stress of what's being projected onto me. And I think some of that has to do with my looks, which, has become more and more of a topic or whatever. And I guess, like being single long enough or whatever, you hear, like I never heard it so much when I was just married and with with one husband for 17 years, like one person, he didn't say to me all the time, well, you're so pretty, I think you're going to cheat on me. He never said that. Like he just didn't say that. He he knew who I was, what I was about. He knew me. I knew him. I don't know. And that just never came out of his mouth. And that attitude wasn't there. And so, but since then, and I don't know, I guess as you're dealing with older men, and as you get older, right, and men, and you come in contact with men who have had experiences with other women who have cheated on them, okay, or who have done ruthless things, or been ruthless, or been mean, or, you know, took their money and ran, or whatever, created all these fears inside of these men, or whatever, and now, as you run into these different men, and maybe they tell you, maybe they don't, because like if they don't tell you that they have these fears or these insecurities, they're looking at you like they're attracted to you, they want to be with you, they love you, whatever, but they have these secret feelings on the inside, like, oh, she's gonna cheat on me, or oh, you know, she's gonna do what the last one did, and blah 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 blah. So they project that onto you, either by attitude, by words, or some sort of way, and the stress of that is what I'm absorbing, right? Because like my mom likes to remind me, has always reminded me since I was a child, and my son, my boys, and all of us, like, we're a family of empaths, and we feel each other's pain, and, you know, it's very hard for me to not take on that stress. It's very hard for me to not feel whatever emotional turmoil that they are actually feeling on the inside, like whether or not, if it's my fault or not, right? So that's what I mean when I say, like, when I would come home, because I knew I was out late, he knew I'd be out. I would say, look, I'm at the store. I'm not over here like he didn't know where I was at. Believe me, I was on GPS the whole time. But it would be like, look, I'm going to be here late because I'm waiting for the sale to click over at 12:01. And he would be like, yo, why you know? And I'm like, I don't know. I know you don't want to hear this or whatever, but this is what I'm doing because I'm getting this detergent or whatever, right? And, but I knew I'd be walking in. It's like I'm walking into a hornet's nest when I'm coming home. And I always felt that dread, right? So I haven't dealt with that now since, you know, being single. And I won't deal with that. I won't. I just won't. I won't ever deal with that. I won't deal with that. If a man presents that to me, I don't care if there's a piece of paper or not. If a man starts presenting to me this crazy amount of projection, right, of some sort of stress that I don't know, that I don't even know, or I'm not responsible for, or whatever, you know, whatever the case is, or tries to start, you know, making me, you know, feel, and I'm not saying that, that's not to say that I'm not, okay, because I know how to follow directions, and, you know, I know how to listen when there's a time and a place. Like I said, I'm willfully submissive, right? But being willfully submissive and submitting as a woman, and someone who is a firstborn, headstrong, and a go-getter, and someone who makes decent decisions, someone who doesn't really need a lot of supervision, stuff like that, right? Like my whole entire life. It's like, in a relationship, for me personally, I'm not actually looking to be in a relationship for the purpose of, I need a man to lead and guide me because I don't have no answers to my life, because I am like Iyanla Van Sands, whatever that girl's name is. I fix my life. No, I look to God for that. Okay. And yes, I want a man who is, you know, decent, and, you know, who, you know, maybe he gives good advice, maybe he doesn't, I don't know. But in other words, I'm not coming into a relationship specifically for that. Like, I'm not over here a HOE looking for a captain. Okay. I'm not in that place. Now, when my husband had died and I did have little, you know, young boys, I was specifically looking for someone to help me with the boys and to take the lead with them. And I might have definitely had that type of energy that was a little bit of, you know, sad, and definitely kind of like, you know, come over here and save me. And not to saying that I don't need any saving, because me being quirky and I have my little things, right? I met somebody a couple weeks ago because I was screaming because there was a bug that was stuck in between my thingy here, this screen and the glass, and it was like right here. I couldn't drive home because if I opened up the thing, it was gonna fall inside the car, and I couldn't open up the window without this opening up. Like, this is the way it works, right? So I had taken everything out of the car, and I was crying, and I was like, you know, because it was like a big palmetto bug or whatever. I don't know how it got in there, but I was doing this, it looked like the pee-pee dance. Like when you see kids doing the pee-pee dance, they gotta go pee. That's what it looked like I was doing outside. I was crying and I was frustrated and I was like, ah. Now this has happened to me twice, okay? Anyway, and I was like, what in the world? I was praying to God, like, okay, what do you want me to do? I can't drive home with this bug on my head. And at any moment he could just drop down, because this thing does actually, like, there is, like, it can separate. Like, it, I don't know how to explain this, but it's kind of loose. Anyway, so I had to take everything out of the car, and I was over here crying, and I was upset, and I was like, ah, and I was punching the air and talking to God and doing all this stuff, and in the parking lot at the store at Walmart. And this one guy was like, he was like, why don't you get some bug spray? Or whatever. Anyway, he kept checking me. He's like, are you okay? You look kind of, upset. And I was like, yeah, there's a bug. And I'm crying, like, I'm crying frustrated tears. These are frustrated tears. I'm not crying like, oh, it's more like, oh. And so he was like, so one guy was like, why don't you get some bug spray? And I was like, oh, good idea. So I went inside the store to go get some bug spray. And I came out to spray. And the bug disappeared. I couldn't find it. So then I was like, that's it. It's inside the car. I don't know where it's at now. So again, now I had already taken everything out of the car and like moved everything out, and the stuff was on the ground, whatever. And I was just like, I'm going to have to get an Uber because I don't know where the bug is at. I sprayed the car. I sprayed the whole car down, fogged it. I was doing all this stuff. And so the security officer, he was like, are you okay? And I was like, no, there's a bug. I just, and he's like, it just jumped out. And it did. But I didn't see it because I was over here stomping my feet, acting weird, And he was like, it just jumped out. Like, because I had the doors open. He goes, it just jumped out. It's on the ground. And I was like, no, it's not. You're lying. You just want me to get in the car to go home. He's like, no, I'm not. Look. He goes, look over there. Look, it's walking underneath the car, going past the side. Look. It did. I just saw it jump out. He happened to see it. And he was right. So when I turned around and looked, there it was. It was big. And I was like, that was it. He goes, I said, you did? You saw it? He goes, I saw it come from your door, like jump and go down to the ground. I was like, oh, thank you. I'm so glad, because if he didn't say that, I wouldn't have even seen it. And I just would have been sitting here the whole time. I would have been too scared to get back in the car to go. Because I was like, as it was driving home, I was still like, like, is it there? Anyway, he was like, are you gonna be okay? You need a drink? I was like, yeah, if I drink, I would need a drink. I was so upset. Yeah, I just took my 2 GABA pills. I took 2 instead of 1. I took 2. I was like, yeah, I need to like go to bed. That whole ordeal was at least about almost 2 hours. Okay. So anyway, I said out to say, I know I'm quirky. So, like, I have my things, right, about me, because I've been told this from different men. Like, somebody else met me one day. I met this one person. I was at a gas station, and I was checking something on my phone before I was looking for the best discount to get a rebate. I was at like a Chevron, because I was like, oh yeah, Chevron gives good rebates. I like to get my money back, right? So anyway, I was like checking my phone, looking to see, and the windows were down. And like as I was doing that, like a bug like flew in the car. Like it came in the car. It was like a moth or something, I don't know. But like came in, and I was like, ah! And it was like this. And so I was like, ah! So I hopped out of the car. Okay? And as I hopped out of the car, I had flip-flops on. And somehow I hopped out of the car, and somehow a little babe, like a little rock or something, got in the flip-flop. I don't know how this happened. I don't know if it happened in the car or what, but somehow during that process, as I got out of the car, I'm like, a bug. So I get out of the car like this. I'm like, ah. Okay. So I was already sitting in the gas station for a few minutes, but I hop out, and then I step down, and I step into this, like, I'm like, ow. It was a big pain. It was like a rock in my flip-flop. And I was like, ow. And I was like, oh. So I flipped my shoe. I flipped my shoe. Okay. I'm like, get off of me. I'm like, ow. Because I was like, that hurt. That rock hurt. And so I was already sitting at the gas station for at least 5 minutes looking for my little discount. there was already men circling around. So, this is Atlanta area. Honestly, there's, men try to talk to you all the time at the gas stations, right? But whatever. I ain't trying to talk to nobody. But this had happened. The window was down. The bug thing came in, flew in. It was real windy because it was definitely windy. Anyway, that happened. I was like, So I got out, and then I stepped on the thing, and I flipped my shoe. And my shoe went way across, like, several feet because I flipped it real fast. I was like, ow, and I was like, and then as I realized I have one shoe on, and now I'm like, I don't want to put my bare foot on the ground. So I'm standing there, like, with one foot up in the air, like, one foot up, like, oh, why am I doing, like, why did I flip my shoe way over there? So this man who was there, like, sitting there, he was watching me the whole time, he was like, are you okay? He's like, you seem to be having problems. And I said, yeah, I said, there was a rock in my shoe. And he goes, you want me to go get your shoe for you? I said, please. So he did. He came and get my shoe. And he goes like this. He goes, I feel like I'm like your Cinderella. I gotta put the shoe on. Okay, so I know I do dumb stuff. Like I'm quirky like this, right? Like I know, like I couldn't make this stuff up. Okay, this is just who I am, right? So I'm expressive, whatever. So this guy's like, do you need help with your gas? And I was like, no, I don't need help with my gas. I got coupons. And he was like, do you need gas money? I said, no, I don't need no gas money. I like to save money. And he was like, okay. He's like, are you married? Like, no, I'm not married. I don't want to be married. Now, mind you, this guy's not, I'm not even attracted to this guy. The truth is, this guy is like not even anything, but he was very nice and everything, but I was like, nah, like, no. But, if he was attractive, it might have been a different thing. But anyway, I was like, no, and I don't want to be married, but thank you so much. And I appreciate you getting my shoe. And he was like, okay. He's like, I feel like we just had a moment. I'm sorry, y'all. Okay, so these things, though, what I'm saying is that I'm quirky. I know this about me, right? And if you have ever been with me, you will know this about me. I don't, like, when you are fully in your full mind, right? Like, when you don't take stuff, when you're not on drugs and smoking and drinking alcohol and stuff, and you don't numb yourself down, right? You might be like me. You just have these, like, weird, quirky experiences, right? So I know I'm not for everybody. Okay, I'm not for everybody, just like everybody's not for me, right? So for me, it's like, if you don't know me, right, you would think that if I tell you why I might be late or coming home late or whatever, you might think, oh, this girl's so pretty, she's out there cheating on me with some other man. And I'm over here like, no, I just had a whole experience with a bug in my car. Or, a whole experience with, at the gas station, it just took me 10 extra minutes because I had a bug or something, and then a rock in my shoe, and then, whatever. And, like, if you didn't, like, know me or whatever, or you didn't trust me, or we didn't have trust, you might think that I'm lying or making this stuff up or whatever. I'm like, no, I really was waiting for the sale to flip over, at the CVS. That's 24 hours. I was waiting for the new sale to flip over so I could use this coupon. And you might think that this is somebody who's like, absolutely, no, I'm actually telling the truth. Like, this is what I actually do. But, depending on where you come from, right? So for me, like, I don't want to, attract the kind of men who are, not going to be trusting naturally, right? Who are going to project onto me whatever their fears and insecurities are, right? Because if I don't want you, I just don't want you. I'm going to tell you. I mean, the one thing about me is I'm going to be mouthy, and I'm going to say, I don't want you. I'm going to say, I want a divorce or whatever. It's like, truth be told, of the 6-year marriage that I had, 5 of the 6 years I was saying I want a divorce. That's the truth, right? So the thing about me is that I am very, very honest. I'm very honest and I'm very mouthy. Now, it's not that I it's like I'm just trying to avoid, like, I don't want to deal with conflict, or like I don't want to have arguments or whatever. I don't want to have stupid arguments. I don't want to argue just to argue, but there are times when you do have the conflict, or where you do have to have conflict, but it's how you handle the conflict, number one. And then also, there are some times where I feel some people just have a a leaning towards, or it's like they want to argue. They like to argue. They always want to be right. Or it's that's what the two of you bring out together. Like, you and this other person bring out friction, right? It's like some personalities, they do that to each other. They bring this like friction type of feeling, right? And they bring out the fight in you, where you feel like you have to constantly protect what's yours, and, you know, stuff like that. That's not the type of relationship. Like, I didn't ever experience that before, but now that I have, I know I don't want to again. I don't want that. I didn't have it before. I don't want that type of thing again. You know, I want just the regular, like, you know, you share with me, I share with you. You believe me, I believe you. And for me, I just look at it as like, when somebody is doing something wrong or doing something they shouldn't be doing, God's going to tell me and I'm going to go. God's going to tell me, right? The piece of paper is not what's going to guarantee you to have, like, a piece of paper does not guarantee that a person is going to actually love you the way you need to be loved, care for you, or not give you stress, physical stress, or the kind of stress that eventually manifests as physical ailments. Because, like, if you look at the way that I looked at the end of that 6-year marriage, I looked horrible. Hair was falling out. I was all the way glowed down. I was a hot mess. Like, seriously, I have photos, and sometimes I've shown people the different photos, and they're like, wow, like, I don't even look like the same person. And it was because, and it wasn't on purpose. Like, these, you know, like, it wasn't him, you know, on purpose trying to stress me out. No, he was just being him. But a lot of times, like I said, there was just this natural friction that would just come. And because of me being empath and being super absorbing of everybody's energy and feelings and emotions and everything, while I can respect him and have agape love for him and have a friendship type of love, if you want to say, the romantic part of the relationship was like gone as soon as the stress started to, you know, the constant, you know, feeling of there being stress of basically being too uptight and being too perfectionist about different things. I don't like, to me, in relationships, two people in a relationship can't be picky, right? There's only room for one picky person in a relationship, right? That's just how I've always seen it. Like, me, I can remember having this conversation with my late husband. Like, we used to always say this, like, he was super laid back. He was so laid back. He wasn't as much of a talker as me. He used to let me talk forever and ever. He wasn't very, when he put his foot down about something, he put his foot down. Like, that's just it. There was not move. It was hard to move him. But for most of the time and for almost everything, like 9 out of 10 things, he was so laid back, he let me have my way, right? But that's because I tend to be picky about certain things. Like, I'm one of those people, like, I always describe myself as Princess and the Pea. That story, if you don't know that story, look it up. Like, it's called Princess and the Pea. The story basically goes, like, if you were a true princess of royal bloodline, she would be able to feel the little pea, right? I don't know if you can see that. The little pea, like it was a little pea that underneath the mattress. No matter how many mattresses that they stacked up, okay, when she would go to sleep at night, she could feel the lump in the mattress. That's me. Especially when it comes to mattresses, right? Oh God, I have issues with mattresses. But anyway, yeah, my late husband, he had many names for me. He used to call me, he used to say I was Princess and the Pea. He also used to say if I didn't get my sleep, not adequate sleep or good sleep, I was definitely Krabby Patty. That was from SpongeBob SquarePants. And he used to say to me, he used to call me the sexy librarian. That was the other, my nickname, or the other, like the way he would describe me. He would be like, he used to tell people in the barbershop, he used to say, oh, my wife is the finest, sexiest librarian you ever meet. And because he would like hype me up like that. He'd be like, oh, she's so sexy, she's so fun, she's the finest librarian you ever meet. Because she's so boring in so many other ways, right? Because I want my vitamins, I drink my water, I'm gonna go to bed, I'm not out doing anything, you know. And sometimes I could be proper about stuff, right? I could be like proper about stuff, not everything, you know. And he tended to be a little bit like, well, he was my opposite, so. But anyway, so he would call me Princess and the Pea because I couldn't handle, I hate crumbs in the bed. I hate crumbs in the bed. Like, he knows, like, if I felt one crumb in the bed, I used to be like, get out, we gotta shake the sheets. So he would be like, oh God. So he would, like, there's crumbs in the bed or whatever. Like, Princess on the Pea is here. Okay. And I don't mean to be, I'm not nasty about it. Like, I'm not nasty. Like, I don't have a nasty attitude. I'm just dramatic. I just have a dramatic flair. Same thing like with the bug, and I was crying, and I guess I'm dramatic, right? And same thing at the gas station. So I'm just dramatic, but other men have told, different men have told me, they're like, you're kind of quirky, you're kind of weird. And I know that about myself, right? So this is why I say, I know I'm not for everybody, and I don't care. I'm fine with that. Like, I'm sorry, I don't like crumbs in the bed. I'm sorry, I can't drive home with a big roach on my head. I can't do it. I can't. And I'm not going to be quiet about it. I'm going to go get an Uber. I'm going to, whatever. I'm going to be praying to God and be like, why is this happening to me? And it's just, I'm Italian and black. I'm going to be dramatic, like, in my flair, in my way of speech. But I'm not nasty. I'm not negative. I'm not, like, toxic, where I'm like, it's all your fault that there's a bug in the car or whatever, right? Like, or you ruined my whole day or whatever. Like, I'm not like that. But I may, oh, me and my second husband, we used to argue all the time. We would go to restaurants. Every time we went and got anything, I gave in. I mean, I had to eventually, like, I just learned that I gave in because I wasn't going to be allowed. I knew this was one fight that I was never going to win. I just wasn't going to win. He was from Jersey, and he just, he's that way, keep your head on a swivel and everything. And when we would go to restaurants, I always like to sit where I can see the door, right? I don't like my back to the door. I also don't like a draft on my back when I'm eating. I don't like a draft over my food when I'm eating either. I don't like it. I don't like being towards the end when people are always walking by, and I feel like as they're walking by, I'm getting wind of whatever they got going on and whatever germs. Okay, I don't like that. I don't want to be on the end of the table and being and dealing with the backdraft of okay, I can't. But I also like, so I can be real picky. I can be funny. Like, okay, my second husband's daughter called me funny style. She was like, you're so funny style. Okay, but I do have these, like, those are little things, right? But I'm not nasty about it. I'm just like, no, I don't want to sit there. No, I want to. But he likes to sit he likes to sit so he can see the door too, because he's definitely like that. Like, he's, for protection reasons, all that kind of stuff. But I just knew we would argue all the time. Like, oh, I don't want to sit my back to the door. Like, I don't like it, right? But he was like, it's not happening. I'm not moving. I'm gonna sit here on this side. And I was like, oh, so I had to give in on that one, right? But like, the thing is, that's what I mean when I say, when you have two people in a relationship, it's good to have your opposite, okay? Because too much of the same thing and certain things, it's like both of you can't be picky about different things. You're never going to get anything accomplished all day long. You're going to be like, it's just, your pickiness is not going to match right? Like, it's hard to explain what I'm trying to say. Okay, but anyway, so now, I talk to different people or whatever, like I said, I'm not any real, relationship or anything like that, but, but I can do whatever I want. I can come home whenever I want. I can go and sit wherever I want at the restaurant, or I can talk to my girlfriends or whatever. I can go meet up here and there if I want to go, boom, meet up with somebody over here or go there or whatever. I got, a couple of my girlfriends, they're all GPSing me. My son, they all got me on GPS. They all know where I'm at. And they all know that I'm kind of like all over the place or whatever, right? But like, the happiness that's over me is because okay, I am not a complicated person, like, per se. Meaning, what you see a lot of women, especially online and stuff these days, how they get so complicated. They want somebody with whatever, 6 figures, 10 figures, I don't know. They want tall, dark, they have all this whole list of things, right? Like, in many ways, I'm not complicated. But in my own personal space, in my own personal world, I could be very complicated, right? Because I have a lot of moving parts. So I might, be doing, let's say, if I'm going to just give you a perfect example of something I do all the time. I could be doing a delivery, right? If I want to do a delivery, I could be on the phone or looking at a potential person in another app that I have on my phone to potential people who want to buy life insurance. I could be doing, and I might stop in the moment if I want to talk to that person, or if I'm driving by not Joann's Fabric because they went out of business, but let's say Hobby something. Okay, Hobby Lobby or something, Michael's or whatever, and I know I got to finish somebody's flowers at my house because I got flowers. Let's say somebody ordered flowers from me because they got a party coming up next month, and I'm doing the flowers because that's what I do, and I know I have a coupon that's going to expire in a day or two. It's 40% off, and I have it saved either in my phone or my purse or whatever, and I'm driving. I might be doing a delivery, but I'm driving by, I'm like, I got to stop and get this, whatever I need for this person's flowers while I'm on the way to go do So that's what I mean when I say I myself am the kind of person that I can tend to have like a lot of moving parts as far as like things that I'm moving gears, things that are going on, things that I'm doing, right? That to other men on the outside will look at me and be like, you got too much going on. You do too much. You're too all over the place. My second husband used to say I was, where's Waldo? He said I was like this all like a bouncy ball. But it's just that I know that I got a lot that I'm doing, and I know in my head, okay, the next time I drive by Michael's, or the next time I drive by this, I got to stop for this or whatever. But I like to make my trips count. If I'm going this way, I want to pick up a delivery, I want to make some money. I just look at life that way in general. But like when when you're with a relationship or when you're in a relationship, right? Depending on the type of person you're with, if he's got a lot of goals and things like that, and he marries you specifically because he wants you to be his helpmate, then that means I got to drop all of my goals and you got to be there for that person or whatever. Like let's say this man owns a big corporation or something like that. Then, in that case, he needs to make enough money to take care so that I could drop everything, all of my hobbies or goals or things that I do for money, hustles or whatever. Like I'm supposed to drop all my work or whatever so that I could be your wife, cook your breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and do all stuff. Oh yeah, I need to get paid for that. That's personal assisting to the umpteenth degree. Plus you're also making love or whatever else you're doing if you like that person, right? I mean, if you're married, and like that's how I look at marriage. I look at marriage as like, I know that I got to now be this person's personal assistant, okay, or potentially helpmate, whatever. And now that means I'm going to have less time or space on my own plate to do whatever I want to do, which now means like I'm going to have either less money or is he going to make enough money? It's kind of like that, like, so it's like, what's the trade-off here, And because I am not like, because I'm not married and I don't have to worry about anybody's laundry or anybody's dinner or lunch or anything like that. Like I'm not doing any of that right now. Like, okay. That's what the happiness is that you see on my face. That's why you see me happy. And this is the reason why I guess I'm giving off these vibes like, oh, she's really happy. Do you want a man? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, affection, protection, yes. Love and companionship and stuff like that. Like, yeah, I do. Okay, those are the things that I want, But he has to be the right kind of person that can deal with my quirkiness. Cause I'm even older now. Like now I'm even more older. I even do even more hustles. I do even more things, and I can't be over here like dealing with and worried that you think I'm gonna be out here cheating or whatever because I'm pretty. Okay, what? Like, nah, there's more to life than. I mean, men look at love situations different, but I don't have issues like that. Like I don't have issues with controlling my body. Okay, I've talked way too long. I can't even believe it's been this long. Bye, y'all.